Okay, this is my spare motor. It's where I bought a set of TT cases, and I had miscellaneous parts, and I slapped the motor together to use as a backup because all my bikes run the same motor. And I stuck this one in a frame yesterday and tried to start it. It's been sitting around for a year. I never had a need for it, but I thought, well, we'll try starting this motor. And boy, she'd pop and bang. It kicked over weird, and it would never start. And it was a puzzle to me. And I thought, well, okay, when you put these together, this is the main, this is the crankshaft, and there's a gear, and it's keyed in there. It can only be one way. It's got a mark, and the point gear has a mark. I thought somehow did I put this together and mistake that mark and get it, 180 off? But I pulled it apart and no, it was where it's supposed to be. I thought, well, okay, did the gear slip on the shaft because there are press fit on here? And I thought, well, maybe that gear moved. But no, that's all right. It turns out, like I say, this is assembled out of assorted parts. Somebody at one time had taken this advance mechanism apart. You can see they're identical advance mechanisms, but the point cam where it fires it on this modified one, it's the firing mark is way up here. On the original one, it's down here. So somebody had pulled this cam part out. So I've never taken one apart, but I can feel that it looks like it's been. So I would think you'd have to take these rivets out, but it hasn't been re-riveted. So somebody forced that out, turned it half a turn, and put it back in at some time in its past. But it's just weird because this is the right one, and then when I goes on there, it lines up in exactly the spot where it's supposed to be, where the points will open. She was a half a turn off. That was weird, but of course, when you're buying odd used parts, that can happen. You can get defects in things where somebody had tried to fix something. Because I'm sure somebody was having a hell of a time with a bike, and they thought this was the problem. If they just pull that cam out and turn it, it would work. But the advance is free. See, I like these mechanical advances because you can actually, if you bend these tabs out a little more, you can increase the advance. You can change springs to retard the advance. There's a lot you can do on these. But somebody, because people a lot of times they get carried away. They have a problem, and they immediately jump to some wild conclusion, and they'll start modifying things. Well, I'm going to put a tag on this one so I know that somebody has fiddled with it. But yeah, it wants to come off of there. So somehow somebody popped that off, turned it half turn, and popped it back on. But that screwed up the whole operation here when I was trying to make that motor run. Because, you can't fire half off. But no biggie. I mean, I got extra parts, but I have to clean this cam up a little lobes on it. But it's just funny, because that's the kind of thing people, a lot of times when they screw things up, it's because they think they're trying to correct some problem like this, but this was the problem. Somebody had already went in there and changed that on the advance. But like I say, this motor is made completely out of odds and ends of parts that I picked up. I picked up a bare set of cases and get this and that here and there. I've got a lot of parts for these laying around. So I thought, well, I'll put together a spare motor. And it's not a big deal to pop these in and out of the frame. It's like a half-hour job. But it makes me think, when I put this together, I've got the standard piston in there, regular low compression. I do have a high compression piston I could pop in there. Actually, this is a TTXT head, so it's got the small valve on the intake. I could actually put an SR head in. I've got an extra one kicking around. It's got a bigger intake valve. As long as I'm this far into it, but that was a puzzler. And I actually, I wouldn't have had to pull a motor to fix that. But there was another thing that I wanted to look at anyway. So it's all right to take it down. I mean, it's a hobby of mine, farting around with these. But I'm real close to pulling the head off and cylinder off, so I guess I might as well. And then I got a piston, so I guess I might as well. So, like I say, this is it's a backup motor. But that was a puzzler. It's a good thing I didn't need the motor. I wasn't in a pinch where I needed the motor. But that'll screw you up when somebody thinks they're fixing something. But no biggie. Like I say, I got extra parts. So I'll clean this up and put it back in because this is the one I needed. But the main thing is I got to get a tag marking that other one so I don't accidentally think that's a good one. Or I can try to pull that apart and make the turn on it and then she'll be fine. But people can do weird things. But I got that figured out because I thought I must have screwed something up. And I've had dozens of these apart and I have never screwed, the timing marks aren't exactly clear. Like on this point drive, that is the mark. Though, it really doesn't show. That's got to be on that mark. But you can see it's on the other side too, but just very faint. This one is a little clearer. This has got more of a divot in it, so it shows up a little better. This one is not clear. But that is the mark. Yeah. Well, it's always interesting to find that kind of a problem, but that was some previous mechanic. Nice simple arrangement though. I just got to clean that lobe up. And get that back together again. Well, first I got to decide: do I want to put in the other piston? For a spare motor, it's nice to have a stock motor because then it can run in anything, and we'll think about it. Because I think I put new valves in this one, or at least a new exhaust valve in this head. But it had me puzzled when it was doing that popping and farting, and it didn't make any sense. Well, now it makes perfect sense. But people always jump to that conclusion, oh, there's something, like 180 off. And it usually isn't, it's something else. But in this case, it was. Sometimes them things are true.